Showtime! The Capital G show starts right now.
What's up YouTube? Capital G here. We're talking Lavals in this video and we're asking the question, is this a real deck? And by real deck, I mean, is it good? Is this a competitive deck that I can take to regionals and expect to come away with a regional top 8? Or was its latest performance simply light sworn level luck? And for those of you guys who don't know, have no idea what the heck I'm talking about, Lavals, or let's just say a Laval variant, just took first place at the ARG Rhode Island event that happened over the weekend. Why in the hell ARG would host an event during the same weekend as Worlds, I have no clue, but that's besides the point. Now, before any of you Laval fans out there start spazzing out and doing backflips and shit like that, you know, you have to understand that it wasn't full Lavals. It was a variant, and I would say, well, you guys are probably looking at the deck right now, or you will be shortly. I mean, half of the deck was, you know, pretty much a full artifact engine, and then the other half of the deck was pretty much like full Laval. So as you can see, the deck clearly specialized in just absolutely shitting on its opponent's back row. I mean, if I just looked at this deck at face value, I would say, okay, most of your opponent's back rows are just going to be worthless at all stages of the game. I mean, this guy had 3 Ignition, 2 Lakeside Ladies, double Wiretap, you know, double Cyclone, and Malevolent Catastrophe. Sorry, your back row is just not going to get it done. That's too much hate, especially in the main deck. Now, when you combine all of that with the disruptive nature that is Artifact Murotech, okay, and you can obviously summon that with Sanctum or Call of the Haunted and trigger its effect, then it's like, okay, you might not even need the Lavals to actually win some of these games. And with that being said, though, I'm not sure if the engine didn't put in some serious work. Like, Lakeside Lady might be my favorite monster in Lavals just because it's an alicord that's nearly impossible to stop. I mean, what are you going to, like, Dp-Ygo it or something like that? I mean, seriously, that seems like a lot of work just to get rid of one card that they can recycle anyway. Not to mention, you're probably not main decking Dp-Ygo. And then it's like, Maiden just fills up the graveyard. It makes it so that you don't have to draw your Lakeside Ladies. And then Cannon kind of ties everything together. It lets you reuse your Lakeside Ladies. It's your synchro maker. And I mean, I was just talking about yesterday how powerful and potent a single Black Rose Dragon can be. And this card has a 1-card Black Rose Dragon maker. I mean, you summon Cannon, you get Maiden from Banished, and then basically you just Black Rose your opponent. Now, I think that Rekindling isn't as powerful as it once was, but it does give you some synchro play options. When you revive Lady and Maiden, you know, I don't think any of these plays are going to be on the Quasar level that the deck was known for in the past, but you know, the card doesn't actually have any restrictions. You can still attack with the monsters. You know, you don't lose your battle phase or anything like that. So obviously you can still OTK during the turn that you use it. I also think with the release of Karee Bandit and Blaster, although Blaster was some time ago, and Galactic Overlord, I believe it. No, Tachyon, Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy. I believe that those 2 cards have actually given just the Laval archetype, like, it's given it more consistency, because with Karee Bandit, you know, you can dig for your power cards like your Soul Charge or your Rekindling, while at the same time you can fill up your graveyard without actually having to draw those Lavals. They just hit the graveyard, and, you know, Maiden can just add more stuff to the graveyard. And then Blaster gives you a huge ass beater that you can constantly summon. And then you can actually use Blaster for, like, some synchro plays. You can use it for 8s. You can even make Leo with it, and Leo is just an incredibly difficult card for a lot of decks to deal with, especially Infinity. A lot of times they either have to make Rhapsody or they have to, like, Exciton Knight the field, and if they have cards committed to the board, they're not going to want to Exciton Knight. I think that what's good about Lavals is that you don't actually have to draw them for them to put in work, which means unlike when people try and splash in like Karee Bandit in the hat, you don't have to be worried if you mill too many of your ice or fire hands or any of that nonsense. This deck can pretty much mill whatever it wants and not be affected because your Lavals feel right at home being in the graveyard. Now, I like that Cannon puts pressure on your opponent during your turn, because if you summon Cannon, you pretty much are hanging a Black Rose Dragon threat over them, which they have to respond. Like, nobody wants to lose their field to a Black Rose Dragon. I'm pretty sure that people are going to get that into their head, but then during your opponent's turn, you have Murotech to put pressure on them as well. Now, because I am not a Laval expert, I don't know if this is the most ideal version of the deck. I just happen to know that it's been, well, pretty much the most successful version of Lavals in probably the last 3 years or so. I believe that a couple of versions made like regional top 8s in the past few years, but outside of that, there hasn't been any success on like the YCS level. I'm not completely sold on the deck. You know, I'll probably add it to my DN deck, so you know, when I start streaming next week against you guys, I can just pick it up and start playing it and judge for myself. But if there are any Lavals players out there, let me know what you guys think, because this is one of the times where I ask a question and I literally don't know the answer, so I'm kind of relying on my subscriber base to let me know, like, are Lavals good right now? You know, was this deck just a product of the artifacts doing all the work, or, you know, were the 8 Lavals actually doing their thing? Can you make this deck with even more Lavals and still make it really consistent? Or, you know, was he running some stuff that wasn't necessarily needed? Let me know what you guys think. I still think that, like, Ophion could just fuck this deck up completely. You couldn't summon Muratek, you can't summon MegaCapitalG, you can't Cinco, you can't do shit if Ophion is there. Anyways, give this video a big thumbs up. If you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already. The Kickstarter probably ends in about an hour. Right now, I'm just asking for donations so I can handle, or I can cover the cost of shipping, because I think at this point I'll have to ship out about 168 cards. So multiply that times 37 cents per stamp, and you can pretty much do the math there. Thank you guys for watching as always.